Hey there, welcome to Lovecaps. Today we're diving into an Indonesian comedy drama that's all about family, fame, and a whole lot of good looks. But hey, spoiler alert, so watch out and stay with us. Meet the Moss family. They've got looks that could launch 1,000 ships. Seriously, they're like the poster children for good genes. The oldest son, Okus, he's the king of the internet, with millions of followers who just can't resist his charm. He's even a love guru, helping guys win over their crushes. Then there's Dad, Pak Archewi, who used to be quite the heartbreaker himself, dating more than 1,200 girls before he found Mom. Speaking of Mom, she's got some masculine features and a rather conspicuous mustache, but she's rocking it. Now, here's our protagonist, Kulin, the baby of the family and probably the most attractive of them all. But here's the twist. He's not thrilled about it. In fact, he's had enough of being chased by admirers. He often wishes he was only mildly attractive. You see, every time he steps out, girls go absolutely bonkers. They faint, they pull their hair, they even get nosebleeds. It's like he's a rock star. Poor Kulin just wants a normal life and has never had a genuine interaction with a girl. He avoids going out in public as much as possible, you know? He's been homeschooled to avoid the madness. And his only friend? Well, that's his pet fish Anto. He plays cards with it and has full-on conversations. Now, the Moss family is watching all of this on camera, and they're worried. They want Kulin to have a regular teenage life. So, Big Brother Okus tries to set him up with girls, but Kulin's not interested. He's into the type who doesn't fall for his looks. He wants someone who sees him for his personality and interests, not just his pretty face. Heck, maybe he's even considering dating that fish of his if nothing else works out. Let's see if that works out. So here comes the Moss family's master plan. They decide to pull a fast one on Kulin, trying to get him back into school. So one night, as Kulin's went for drinking water, they go full drama mode. They start pretending they're broke as a joke and declare they're gonna eat nothing but scrambled eggs till they make enough money for his homeschooling. Poor Kulin's heart sinks, thinking he's causing his folks all this trouble. Next morning, he wakes up all guilty and announces he's going to school for the upcoming semester. His parents are over the moon until he drops the bombshell. He's only going to an all-boys school. They wanted him to chat with girls, but hey, one step at a time, right? So, fast forward a bit, it's Kulin's first day at this real school. Big bro Okus drops him off on his bike, but Kulin's got a plan. He's keeping that helmet on to hide his gorgeous face, but guess what? The helmet starts attracting even more attention than his face ever did. Kulin takes a seat at the back, but oh boy, the class bully, Sidi, and his gang spot him. Then, the teacher walks in, and she's in for a shocker too. A guy wearing a helmet in class? She demands he takes it off right away. Kulin's reluctant, but he's got no choice. So he takes off that helmet in the most dramatic fashion, revealing his face. But guess what? The plan seriously backfires. The next thing you know, the teacher's getting rushed to the hospital in an ambulance, all nosebleeds and hyperventilation. Thanks to Kulin's good looks. The other kids ain't too happy either. They complain to the principal about the new guy being too handsome to handle. Kulin tries to make a run for it through the hallway, but nope, he gets tripped by one of the bullies. Alright, here's the scoop, folks. Picture this. Kulin, our guy with the jaw-dropping good looks, gets pulled into the school storeroom. And what happens next? Well, these three bullies pop up calling themselves the Three Tak. They're like the Power Rangers of bullies, led by Sidi, who just happens to be the principal's son. They go all out with this over-the-top introduction, and you can't help but roll your eyes. Even Kulin can't stop laughing. So here's the deal. These bullies have been stuck in senior year for like forever. Why? Because they won't graduate until Sidi takes the most beautiful girl to the prom, a gal named Amanda. But here's the twist. Amanda's all about handsome dudes, and these guys don't exactly fit the bill. That's where Kulin comes in. They want him to deliver the prom proposal, and they even rope in a poor soul named Kibo to help. Now Kulin's had enough, so he heads to the principal's office with Kibo to file a complaint about the bullying. Even Kibo knows what happens next, but he joins him. And guess what? The principal's in a jam because his son's refusing to graduate unless Kulin's good looks give him a shot with Amanda. So, he tells Kulin and Kibo to do whatever these bullies want that evening. Talk about a sticky situation. So, Kulin and Kibo decide to get this task done and dusted the next day. Kibo, Poor guy, has been on the receiving end of their pranks too. But he's just glad to have a friend who's not all about looks. Fast forward to the next morning, and they're at BBM school where it's like, no ugly boys allowed. The girls smell the presence of the boys. When the girls spot Kulin wearing his trusty helmet, it's chaos. They demand he take it off, and trust me, it's like an atom bomb went off in there. Girls crying, noses bleeding, acting possessed, you name it. And guess what? This whole spectacle makes it to the news. Clips of girls going wild get shared all over social media. Kulin becomes the guy who's just too handsome to handle. Even Amanda, the hottest student and model, hears about it and decides she's got to impress this guy. He's the first one who matches her beauty and status. As the news about Kulin's overwhelming charm spreads like wildfire, a swarm of girls congregate outside his house. And guess what? His family sees this as a golden opportunity. They start charging these curious folks for a house tour. Now, when Kulin, who's hiding out in the streets, spots his own family cashing in on his good looks, he feels pretty darn betrayed and used by his own family. When they call him back, he's like, "Nuh-uh, not coming home." To make matters worse, his beloved pet fish becomes a casualty of the tourist frenzy. It's a tough pill to swallow. Feeling utterly dejected, he takes refuge on a rooftop, trying to escape the maniacal admirers chasing him through the streets. Then, out of the blue, a girl appears behind him, calmly asking if he's planning to take a leap off the roof. And here's the kicker. She doesn't react like the others. No nosebleeds, no fainting, nada. Kulin's left was utterly shocked. The girl doesn't say much and just walks away, leaving Kulin feeling all sorts of emotions. There's something special brewing in his heart, you know? Later on, he reaches out to Kibo, who picks him up and offers him shelter at his place. Kibo and his grandma are super welcoming, and when Kulin steps into Kibo's room, he's floored by a couple of rare collectible playing cards. Turns out they share quite a few common interests, and collecting these cards is one of them. The next day, they decide to pay a visit to the all-girls school in search of the mystery girl from the rooftop encounter. While they're at it, they also run into Amanda and hand over City's proposal files. Amanda puts up a front, pretending she's not impressed by Kulin's looks, but as soon as he's gone, well, you guessed it, nosebleeds galore. Kulin's got a crush on someone he sees on the stairs, but the other girls surrounding him make it tough for him to get close. In the days that follow, Kibo and Kulin become inseparable, doing everything together and forming a solid friendship. One day, Kibo takes Kulin to play futsal, where he often goes to meet his own crush. Kulin's got reservations because, well, he sweats, and his sweat can make people handsome. But there's a catch. It only lasts for 2 hours. After the game, Kulin spots the rooftop girl working at a nearby shop, adding a new twist to this unfolding story. Kulin finds himself utterly captivated by the girl from the shop, and just as he's lost in thought, Kibo makes an entrance, introducing her as Rere, his very own crush. It's clear they're pretty close, and that stirs up a strange new feeling in Kulin. Jealousy. That night, sleep eludes him as he grapples with this unfamiliar emotion. But then, it hits him. His older brother, Okus, is the resident love guru. He arranges a meetup, and when they come together the next morning, Okus can't help but cry tears of joy. He's been waiting for this day to offer his brother some sage advice on matters of the heart. Kulin forgave his family for the whole selling him out to fans ordeal because it led him to Rere. The brothers then head out grocery shopping, all the while Okus lays down the game plan to impress his crush. As Kulin starts following Okus's suggestions, he realizes he's got a long way to go before he truly knows Rere like Kibo does. But he's not ready to give up on his first love just yet. One day, Amanda, the girl with an eye for Kulin, makes a surprise appearance at the boys' school, handing him an invitation and even gifting him a phone. Later, they all head to karaoke, and Kulin gets a chance to sing with Rere. However, he can't help but notice that Rere's attention is locked onto Kibo, and the jealousy bug takes a big bite out of him. When Kibo's not around, Kulin decides to confront the issue head-on and asks Rere if she has a crush on him. Initially, Rere denies it, but when Kulin spins a tale about Kibo being head over heels for Amanda, her expression says otherwise. Jealousy, my friends, can be a real heartbreaker. Rere's telltale expression confirmed Kulin's suspicions. Feeling the weight of his emotions, Kulin decided to reach out to Amanda for a favor. The next day, a crowd gathered at a venue to celebrate Amanda's birthday. When Kulin and Kibo arrived, Amanda's behavior struck them as odd. She seemed more interested in Kibo than in Kulin, even pulling him aside for a private chat. Meanwhile, Rere made her entrance at the party and witnessed Amanda kissing Kibo. Heartbroken, she ran outside, capitalizing on her vulnerability. It was at this moment that Kulin decided to confess his feelings to her. Rere appreciated his honesty, but made it clear that she saw him as nothing more than a friend. Despite conspiring against his best friend, Kulin received no consolation. The group of bullies also saw Amanda's affection toward Kibo and became consumed by jealousy and anger. They ended up beating Kibo, while Kulin watched helplessly from a distance, too afraid to intervene. Later, Kulin brought Kibo home and helped dress his wounds alongside Kibo's grandmother. Seeing his friend in pain, Kulin finally realized the gravity of his mistakes. The following day, Kibo handed Kulin a legendary card from his cherished collection, a token of his guilt. Kulin confessed to all the wrongs he had committed until that point. Kibo, shocked and hurt by the betrayal, expressed that he would have stepped aside if he had known Kulin had feelings for Rere too. Those words, however, only deepened Kulin's pain. In the end, Kibo issued an ultimatum, asking Kulin to leave immediately, acknowledging that Kulin was in the wrong. And with a heavy heart, Kulin departed. After a month of self-imposed exile, Kulin finally returned home. His family was thrilled to have him back, but Kulin wasn't quite feeling the same joy. He locked himself in his room, shutting out the world, and what he missed most was his best friend Anto. They'd bump into each other from time to time, but all they shared were silent glances. Kulin's mother, concerned for his well-being, decided to approach him one night. She gave him his pet fish, the one that miraculously never kicked the bucket. She also told him that he could go back to being homeschooled if that's what he preferred. The family's top priority was his happiness, and they were willing to do whatever it took. Touched by his mother's words, Kulin had an epiphany. He had people in his life genuinely rooting for his happiness. This realization motivated him to make amends with Kibo. The next morning, he spilled the beans to Rere, then sought out Kibo to offer an apology. At first, Kibo brushed him off, but when Kulin asked about Rere, he couldn't help but gush about his love for her. Kulin revealed that Rere had been listening in on the phone the whole time. This heartfelt moment repaired their friendship, and they all became buddies again. A few days later, they all rocked up to prom together. As for that bully Sidi, well, he didn't really care as expected. Instead, Kulin and Amanda stole the show, winning the titles of prom king and queen. But the real twist came when Kulin overheard a girl commenting that he was only mildly handsome. Intrigued, he found himself drawn to her, hinting at the start of a fresh relationship. And there you have it, folks. The end is a bit of a mystery, but hey, that's life for you. Thanks for tuning in.